I did miss it. It was like my left hand was gone.
It was
It
like
was
your left hand was gone.
Crazy. And I am left-handed. It's very strange. It's very strange. We're so, dependent on technology now. It's crazy. It's scary to think we're so dependent on Facebook and Instagram. It's scary. And you know what I realised last night when I went to bed? I obviously have an addiction because it was like, what's going on?
And you kept checking.
Yeah, and you kept checking, yeah. So it was like I never thought I was so dependent on it until it went yesterday. And then it was like, wow, I obviously have such a, which you don't think you do, but when it's gone, you kind of go, whoa.
So did you pick up the phone and make an old-fashioned mobile phone call or anything like that? Or did you just have withdrawal symptoms?
I was just like, what's going on? What's wrong? There's something wrong. Turn on the news, see what's going on. The news will tell us. It's very strange.
Yeah, I was definitely worried about Instagram. I love Instagram.
So when Instagram disappeared or you couldn't add to it or see any new posts,
I was having
withdrawals.
withdrawals.
She had to talk to me, so that's why I was
She had to talk
talk
to
to
you?
me for a while, yeah, instead of going on her phone for 6 hours, so she panicked there a little bit, yeah.
So you had a conversation
Yeah,
with
first
yourself.
time.
We
We're together
sat down,
3
had a
years
meal
and we actually had a meal and a conversation.
You went out for a meal?
No, we sat in, had a meal.
You actually ate and
Yeah,
sat down together at the
spoke.
table?
Yeah.
Together
I
as
didn't have
well.
our phones. Like, it actually made a nice change. Should go down more often maybe.
But it was hard though.
Oh, it's awful. Yeah, it was horrible. I am addicted to it because I like to see like updates of the bloggers and stuff like that. So that's why I missed it. I was dying to see what everyone was up to.
And is it time that this company Facebook that run Instagram and WhatsApp and others, is it time we break them up? Do they have too much power in our lives globally?
They definitely have the power, definitely.
You can see how much people are like now just freaked out, kind of like Twitter. You go to Twitter and everybody's just on Twitter saying like, what's happening with the other 3 social media platforms. So like, I think it is like, everyone depends on social media so much now,
connected.
and they're so
And they know
connected,
so much.
So and everybody's probably just trying to like refresh their feed to see, but it's like obviously a global outage and stuff like that. So but yeah, no. But yeah, we had a nice conversation for a change, so it was all right, you know what I mean?
Nice meal.
Until I met you, I had no idea that anything was down because I don't use any of those.
So you don't use WhatsApp, you don't use Facebook, you don't use Instagram?
No, none of them whatsoever. I just have a phone where I can receive calls, I can send a text, I can actually send an email, and that is it. And I still write a letter.
So you still write a letter and you didn't miss out. You didn't even know they were down.
Didn't know anything about it.
And you're reading an old-fashioned newspaper. You've
No,
got the
I'm
Irish
looking at the racing.
So you've got the racing page out and you're looking at the 3:30.
Yes, I am. I follow Brian Hughes, the jockey. He's been wonderful lately. So I just do, I work in home care. So I look after a lot of people who are by themselves. So this is for a little man that I go to that likes to put a bet on.
From a WhatsApp perspective, it was more significant because I've got family in Scotland, south of England, Gibraltar, all over the place, USA, and that's our daily communication tool with a family group. So that was much more disruptive.
So you had to pick up the phone and actually ring them, use a landline, or what did you do?
Yeah, I had to rediscover the app of FaceTime on my iPad that I never knew, that I hadn't used for many years, but yeah, it was fine. Or traditional SMS.
Do we rely too heavily on one company, and are we addicted? Is this an example of perhaps Facebook and the company have too much power?
Potentially. I think my first thoughts when Facebook was down, I did think, where's all my photos and history and memories disappear to if it doesn't come back up. There was kind of talk on Twitter that they'd lost a big chunk of data, so that was a little bit concerning. But I actually welcomed the break. I am terrible for sitting there watching TV and scrolling through Facebook, scrolling through Instagram, constantly checking stuff. So I actually managed to sit and watch a whole episode of a show I watch.
What show was it?
It was The Walking Dead.
So you went back and you watched some old-fashioned TV, and I know we put on an old-fashioned DVD. We put on James Bond, The Spy Who Loved Me. I think it's 1973, a Roger Moore classic. So there is life outside Instagram and WhatsApp, isn't there?
Absolutely, yep. similar. WhatsApp was the kind of the main one I missed. I was trying to send messages, to my husband to find out where he was, probably on his way home from work.
And he didn't
so
respond.
I had to go back to the SMS. So yeah, didn't get the 2 ticks to say that he'd read the message.
Spent more time talking to my husband.
You actually spoke to your husband?
Yeah, for the first time in a while. No. And reading and catching up with the newspapers.
Could we wean ourselves off it? Are we addicted to social media?
We are, there's no doubt about it, Now, I think less so now with Facebook, but more now going into Instagram and, WhatsApp and that.
So you really did miss it?
I did, I suppose. I mean, it's not that I do it all the time, but it's kind of like a quick break. That's my break, just flashing on and off, that kind of thing.
I do use WhatsApp, yeah, but only for the football team, really.
So you noticed that one dropping?
That was the only one I really noticed, yeah, but it was great being back sending text messages again, back in the 80s retro.
I think the break was brilliant.
It was refreshing.
The silence was nice, yeah.
And what did you do for those 6 hours? What did you get up to?
It was just literally, actually we baked. My daughter was baking
So
when she came in from school.
Must have missed it?
No,
didn't.
She's very sort of into sort of 70s, 80s music as well, so she's very like that as well, very retro, so she didn't miss it at all. So she was on YouTube listening to music.
So you found it refreshing?
Yeah, it's a bit more sort of family time, less time on social media, which is brilliant. I'm all for it.
When did you notice it dropping?
Just when I went home yesterday. My daughter is 14 and she said it to me, so she was devastated.
She must have been at that age.
Yes, yeah, everything revolves around the WhatsApp.
I'm on Telegram, so I managed quite well.
When the product is free, you're the product. The fact that these companies use your information to sell to advertisers to then push products on you.
I think they have
is
way
that
too
why?
much. Yeah, I think they have way too much control. All the tech companies have way too much control, and I think the governments are giving them too much control, basically.
So do we need to nationalise it? Do we need to set up another kind of old-fashioned Post and Telegraphs Telecomaran type thing?
No, I think we've moved from that. I don't think we're going to go
well,
back to
it would be
that.
a social media version of it, an online version.
I just think they should be more responsible in how they're behaving, and I think the government need to press them more so that they're paying what they need to be paying in their taxes, and also that that privacy has to be respected under GDPR as well, and that we need to know where our data is going, because it's just we're not really thinking about it enough. We're sort of we are addicted. A lot of us are addicted to Facebook, basically. Let's face it, scrolling.
Not surprised. I'm expecting, I suppose, everything to go bust shortly.
You were expecting a data centre to go under, or something to go wrong?
Yes, definitely.
Just too much up there in the clouds?
Definitely, yeah.
SMS instead.
You went back to old-fashioned text messaging?
I went back to old-fashioned text about a very important WhatsApp I had sent to somebody who didn't get it, and it was about a meeting for tomorrow, and they actually sent me an old-fashioned text, and that's how I realised it was out. There was no warning from WhatsApp or anybody, so nobody knew until I actually looked and I realised that the last 3 messages hadn't gone.
There are other ways of communicating, so we discovered that as well, that you can send emails and you can send texts just as easy as this WhatsApp and Facebook. So yeah, didn't miss it at all.
It was a lovely break.
So it was a break to get away from it?
Break from Instagram and people texting and annoying you. I was on Snapchat instead.
And how old are you?
I'm 19.
How did your generation cope? How did teenagers and people in their early 20s get through?
Well, everyone was talking about it and everyone knew.
So everyone knew that it was down,
yeah.
And they were using different apps to communicate?
Different networks, yeah.
But not the old-fashioned mobile phone or the landline to say hi?
No, not a chance.
You still didn't pick up the phone and say hello?
No, not a chance.
No, I deleted Instagram. I don't use it. I don't think it's a good environment, so mostly WhatsApp I was missing.
So what was it about Instagram that made you delete it? What was...
Well, I just thought it was like not reality, like, just
a bit too perfect.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
And you thought, I don't want that in my life?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It just was not, I wasn't benefiting and it was a waste of time as well, so.
Being a bit of an older guy, I was only introduced to WhatsApp about 2 years ago when you set that group up, Joe.
Yeah.
Which we use, for communicating about cycling.
Yeah, you'd wonder if Ireland set up their own, or nationalised it, shall we say. I mean, that costs money. So we possibly just put a tax on it or whatever, or increase, make a levy for it, as they're doing now with the television license. It's
so the money, if it was a nationalised Facebook, would go back to the people as opposed to Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, but I mean, who's going to pay for it?
Well, you, of course, the taxpayer.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. Yeah, and I'm not paying anything for WhatsApp at the moment.
Well, you are in a way because you're the product.
Well, yeah, I know. Yeah, the only thing I'm paying for is the ads I have to put up with. Is that it? Yeah, so I'm willing to put up with the ads.